This will probably be the most sentimental video on my channel ever. I bought back my 1991 300zx twin turbo built by a company in Japan called VeilSide. Now this is the original C1 Combat Evolution demo car that was used to promote the C1 300zx VeilSide body kit. This car has some really cool JDM history behind it, being that it was showcased in the VeilSide booth during the 1995 Tokyo Auto Salon. And before I walk you through the car, I want to explain why this car is so special to me. So in high school, I was diagnosed with a super rare autoimmune disease called Parry Rhomberg Syndrome. And basically what this disease does is it doesn't allow the left side of my face to produce any fat cells. So growing up through high school, even though I had an amazing clique of friends, I was still an extremely self-conscious individual. All because my face looked different and I was mortified if somebody were to point it out to me and bring it up to me face to face. To combat this disease, I had to be put on a drug called methotrexate. Essentially, this drug was used to suppress the disease from progressing. Now, around the time I was diagnosed with this rare autoimmune disease, I owned a 1991 300zx twin turbo. This car was literally my pride and joy. I babied it, I never drifted it, and in my ownership back in the day, it didn't even see a drop of rain on it. Now for the story of the darkest moments of my life. When I graduated high school, this was when I was placed on a drug called methotrexate. We tried it in a pill form at first, but slowly over time, we saw the disease progress and my face was getting noticeably worse. So I switched from a pill form of the drug to an injection once per week. The first few months were fine, zero side effects, but once the drug actually started to work, boy, did the side effects suck. I remember it like it was yesterday. I would inject the drug every Sunday night. My side effects would kick in within minutes of being poked, which included extreme nausea, this weird adrenaline butterfly feeling in my stomach, as if you were on a really crazy roller coaster, and it would only happen right before I would fall asleep, which meant I maybe averaged 3 or 4 hours of sleep per night, and of course, loss of appetite. I had to stay on this drug for almost 2 years, which actually did successfully burn the disease out and stop the progression of it. At this time, I was in the clear to get some facial surgeries, which consisted of fat grafts on the left side of my face. Now, being on this drug was at the cost of me not being able to concentrate in university, which I ended up just quitting until I was off of my meds. And there was no way I could work a normal job because I would be way too unreliable. So if I can't get a job or go to university, what the hell was I supposed to do? I literally felt like a lost cause at this point because I felt like I was literally amounting to nothing. To pass time, I dusted off the box of a brand new Canon T3i camera and tried my hand at shooting automotive photos of my 300zx and my friend Jared's 350Z. Being that I was heavily involved in the car scene at the time, I thought, hey, all my friends have cool cars and I can get access to filming their cars whenever I want, so why not become an automotive videographer? But before I did, I needed practice. So I took my Canon T3i and I filmed my very first car video, which is still on my YouTube channel to this day. This is the first time I had ever filmed and edited a video, which was of this very 300zx twin turbo. I instantly fell in love with shooting car videos, and this is when I started to constantly film. Now looking back at it, I think what made me fall in love with posting my automotive videos to Facebook and YouTube was that I would get positive recognition for the videos I was producing. In a weird way, it was an odd attention-seeking, positive affirmation tool I found where I didn't have to show my face at all. I loved doing it because it made me feel like I finally had a purpose in life. More importantly, when I would be filming cars, I would be so laser focused on what I was filming every time I pressed record that I wouldn't think about how sick I actually felt. It was almost a temporary band-aid solution where for that 1 or 2 hours of filming, I felt normal again. As I mentioned previously, I had a lot of issues falling asleep on this drug, so I would naturally stay up late. So my pastime after midnight, I would either be researching editing tutorials on YouTube, dissecting Crispy Media's automotive videos clip by clip so I could try to reproduce the same shots, or simply editing car videos. And I still remember to this day, like it was yesterday, sitting in my room, quite literally feeling like I'm gonna puke all over myself because of my meds, but I would try my best to push through for just 1 extra hour so I could finish a car video that I wasn't even getting paid for. When I look back at it, shooting and editing videos while having this disease forced a good work ethic upon me that I carry over even today. On days that I wouldn't be filming or nights that I wouldn't have anything to edit, I remember turning to my Nissan 300zx for that same Band-Aid fix to help me feel normal again. Driving this head turner of a car, merging onto highways, slamming through gears at full boost. I even get a little bit emotional thinking about it because on those midnight drives, I felt like nothing mattered and life felt so much more simple. This 300zx was truly my therapy. So about 10 years ago, I decided to actually sell my 300zx, and when I watched it drive away, I had this weird feeling where I wasn't upset about letting it go because I felt that it had done everything I needed it to do to help me cope with my depression. But I had this weird feeling that my 300zx story wasn't gonna end there. 10 years went by, and this is when I progressed through the motions of becoming a professional videographer, and this is literally all I know to this day. I never actually ended up going back to school, and I just self-taught myself along the way. Fast forward 10 years later, and I had the opportunity to buy back my VeilSide twin-turbo 300zx. It was still owned by the guy I originally sold it to, and it only had 5,000 kilometers put on it throughout all of those years of not owning it. I called up my friend Taylor, who had a truck that could tow. I rented a trailer, and away we went to Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, about 4 hours away from our city.
What's this?
Oh my God.
Kind of looks similar, hey?
Oh my God.
As we were approaching this guy's house, I started to get this weird, anxious feeling as I was almost scared, but excited at the same time to just see it parked on the side of the street. After walking around the car, admiring it, I didn't even care if it barely ran at this point. I had to buy this car back. So Taylor and I got into the Z and took it for a test drive. You really couldn't wipe this smile off my face even if you tried.
Got it in the camera and you're just cheesing, bro.
Oh my God. What? Oh my God, this is so badass. Why did I ever sell this?
The memories just started flooding in, and behind that smile was a lot of emotion. Driving around at 1 in the morning because I was feeling sick, washing the car 3 times per week just to make sure it was always looking brand new. Hell, even the Z in RoyalZProduction, which is my video production company, was actually named after this very car, the 300zx or Z32. So I paid the owner cash for the car, Taylor and I hooked it up onto the trailer, and we made our way back to Regina, Saskatchewan. When I originally sold the 300zx, I think my parents were more let down than even I was. They loved this car and knew how much I loved it and how much it helped me through my darkest of times. So I knew I had to capture their reaction on camera of bringing the car over to their house. Step outside.
Oh my God, that's your car! What the hell? Anastas,
Where'd you get
is
it?
that it?
That's it.
The real one?
The real one.
Oh my God, no way! How did you ever find it?
I found it after 10 years.
Oh my God.
No.
Yep.
Anastas. Oh my God.
Yes, it's the same crack. It's the same crack, yes.
Crack.
Yes.
I remember it.
The VeilSide whatever.
Yeah.
Is still on it.
It still has the same smell. It's only been driven 5,000 kilometers in 10 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it still runs.
All right.
It needs a bit of work.
Right.
It needs a bit of work.
No. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a beauty.
I've been working my ass off lately, and this opportunity came up and I couldn't pass it up.
How can you pass it up?
So this 300zx definitely isn't picture perfect, and it's not in like the best condition, but it is what it is, and everything can eventually be fixed. I'm gonna be going through the whole car with you guys because there are some pretty rare modifications done to it. So the paint was done by VeilSide Japan. It's like this really nice kind of light gold. I really like it personally just because not a lot of 300zx's are of this gold. Just Z1 Motorsport air ducts, carbon fiber, as well as the OEM spec smoked signal lights. Now the hood is a Jun hood. It's a reverse scoop hood. Never see these on Z32s. I personally think it's kind of rare. On the hood we have the VeilSide Combat decal, as well as on both sides of the car here, VeilSide 300zx Combat. The wheels are VeilSide Andrew Evolution 5 wheels, so they are legit VeilSide wheels. They're even stamped VeilSide right there. Catback exhaust, so it is a single exit. These are usually dual, but I guess they swapped this to a single. In my opinion, it sounds kind of like a Skyline, to be totally honest. Like, it doesn't really sound like a 300zx, which is crazy, but I personally love the sound. That's why I don't want to swap this over to a dual. Another really rare piece on this car is this VeilSide Evolution badge. So these badges were actually only put on the original VeilSide Combat Evolution demo cars that VeilSide built. Can't even buy them anywhere, which is pretty freaking crazy. I guess there's also some VeilSide side mirrors there. It's pretty sweet. Also very rare. And then it's actually also on teen coilovers all the way around. VeilSide had done this custom upholstery, which is freaking beautiful in my opinion. You got this like tan leather and then this lighter tan suede, and you kind of see this colorway throughout the entire car. So you see it on the other door panel there. The rear seats also have it. Super messy. My T-tops are back there. Then we have some Sparko seats here that are also custom upholstered with the same tan leather as well as the light tan suede. And these are Kevlar seats on the back, carbon fiber Kevlar. Beautiful, beautiful seats. Momo steering wheel, that's, you know, it's kind of whatever. You can see it right there. The VeilSide 320 km/h speedometer, which is extremely rare. It's probably like the rarest piece of this car. Now, what I'm eventually gonna do with this car is probably refurbish every single wheel. I'm gonna send them in, just get them refurbished professionally, because they're looking a little ratchet these days. Eventually, I'm just gonna repaint the entire car the exact same color. And then I'm also gonna get a decal shop to redo these VeilSide 300zx Combat decals on the side of the car here. They're super scratched out, honestly. It's just from wear and tear of like probably washing it so many times over the years. And interesting enough, if you guys are saying that this is a freaking knockoff VeilSide car, it isn't, because there's VeilSide couplers in there. You can't really see, but it's stamped VeilSide Co. Who is gonna actually go out of their way to put VeilSide couplers on this car? Custom intercooler piping, probably done by VeilSide or some shop in Japan, because it is freaking all over the place and janky. Greddy type RS blow-off valve. So there's one here, and then there's actually one underneath here, literally right there. Actually, you can kind of barely see it. I don't know why I actually decided to get it welded down there, because it should be up here. If it works, right guys? It's got Z1 Motorsport pop filters. There's one right behind this duct and another right behind that one. So there's two. They were relocated to underneath the taillights by the previous owner. So yeah, that's about it guys. Twin turbo VG30 DETT, nothing too crazy. HIDs. Right there, previous owner installed them. Not a huge fan of HIDs, to be completely honest. I just like the really, you know, the OG OEM look, but it is what it is. I'm not complaining, it's not the end of the world. When I actually bought this car, I went to go pick it up. I asked him multiple times, hey, how does it run, how does it run? He never really responded, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. I knew there was probably something up with the car. And when I went to go check it out in person, we pull up, I'm like, so it's like how to drive on your way here when you pulled it out of storage. He's like, well, after 3,000 or 4,000 RPM, once it hits boost, it just falls on its face and doesn't boost anymore. I'm like, here we go. VG30D TT problems, 300ZX problems. So he did mention to me that when he bought the car from me over 10 years ago, like shortly after he bought it, it started having this issue. And he just never fixed it. And he drove it for like another 5,000 kilometers and kind of like let it be. Today, literally right before making this video, I had some spare time and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go through the car and just like give it an actual visual inspection, because I haven't really had time to do that since I bought it. I went through and I'm like, all right, let's just start with the basics. Boost leak. Kind of sounds like a boost leak. It feels like a boost leak. And I found an intercooler coupler that was literally popped off right underneath the front mount intercooler, like going into the top of the front mount. I felt that the clamp was completely loose. So all I did was literally just shove the pipe back into the front mount, tightened up the clamp, and sure as shit, this thing literally runs exactly how it did when I sold it, which is pretty freaking unreal. So granted that it was running with a boost leak for so long, that means that the car hasn't been bagged at all in the last 10 years. So I'm literally just picking up from where I left off, which is pretty sweet. I don't expect everybody watching this to relate to this video, especially if you aren't or have never been a spirited automotive enthusiast. However, for many people, cars can be extremely therapeutic. When I sold this car, I think I was a little too young to understand what this car actually meant to me and how sentimental it was. I really shouldn't have sold it in the first place, but everything happens for a reason, I guess. A lot of people say that money can't buy happiness, but I truly do believe there are exceptions to that.
I haven't seen this in 10 years, dude.
In my case, money brought back memories that I've cherished forever and will continue to cherish now for the rest of my life.